Hey everyone, welcome to Rationable. I used to think that the ketogenic diet was the ideal way humans should eat. Then I discovered I was completely wrong. And here's how I figured it out. And stick around till the end when I will tell you the ideal diet for you. Now let's start at the beginning. I'm a fat guy, right? There was a time when I needed to blame something for it. And I had been blaming myself for so long that it was quite refreshing to be able to blame something else for a change. Like carbs. I used to believe for quite some time that it wasn't fat that made us fat, but carbs. That cholesterol was good for us. And eating the stuff wouldn't raise our body's cholesterol levels. And everywhere I looked, I saw websites, TED Talks, doctors and fitness professionals talking about keto, ketosis, fat adaptation, and all the other jargon that's associated with it. And you might recognize some of these things that they say. Calories are not calories. The government is fooling you because they want to make money. Sugar is poison. People who are telling you it's okay to eat carbs are sadists who are in the pocket of big carb. Whatever that is. Your body prefers ketones to carbs. Sweden's butter sales are at an all-time high because they believe in low-carb, high-fat diets. Well, yeah, that's what they used to say, and this is the kind of stuff that I used to believe all the time. My first step into this ideology was the slow carb diet, as described in the 4-Hour Body by Timothy Ferriss. He basically said that if you want to be fit by working out just 4 hours a month, then you need to go on the slow carb diet, which prescribes no dairy, fast carbs like bread, rice, pasta, etc., whole wheat included, or fruits for 6 days a week. Just lots of low GI, that's veggies, meats and lentils, beans or pulses, and some vegetables. And on the 7th day, just go nuts and eat whatever you want. And it worked. It wasn't easy to sustain and it was expensive. But it did help me lose a few kilos. And with this as a primer, I dug deeper and found the keto diet had a lot of similarities, but it just seemed to be more extreme. So for a guy who had been fat most of his life, this was pretty compelling stuff. Was everything I knew false? Was this the one reason why I gained so much weight? Could cutting down carbs change my life? The answer seemed to be yes, at least to begin with. But still, I tried to look for evidence to the contrary. After all, one of the most critical ways to test a claim is to try and prove it wrong. So what is the ketogenic diet? Neuroscientist Shelley Fan, PhD, sums it up quite well in her blog on the Scientific American. In essence, a ketogenic diet mimics starvation, allowing the body to go into a metabolic state called ketosis. Usually, human bodies are sugar-driven machines. Ingested carbohydrates are broken down into glucose, which is mainly transported and used as energy or stored as glycogen in liver and muscle tissue. When deprived of dietary carbohydrates, usually below 50 grams a day, the liver becomes the sole provider of glucose to feed your hungry organs, especially the brain. Once liver glycogen is depleted, without a backup energy source, humanity would have long disappeared in the eons of evolution. The backup is ketone bodies that the liver derives primarily from fatty acids in your diet or body fat. These ketones, beta-hydroxybutyrate or BHB, acetoacetate and acetone, are released into the bloodstream, taken up by the brain and other organs, shuttled into the energy factory mitochondria, and used up as fuel. Excess BHB and acetoacetate are excreted from urine, while acetone, due to its volatile nature, is breathed out, hence the characteristically sweet keto breath. Meanwhile, blood glucose remains physiologically normal due to glucose derived from certain amino acids and the breakdown of fatty acids. Voila! Low blood sugar avoided. Now let's get back to my story. I kept looking for nutrition scientists. I could find a lot of people citing science that supported keto, but I could never see any real scientists supporting it. Where were they? Or were they just Batmaning from the shadows? All was revealed in an audiobook by the great courses called Nutrition Made Clear by Roberta H. Anding. So she put down all the information there is about every food group and all the macros, and there was nothing about carbohydrates being bad for you, or fat for that matter, or anything else. The only thing that she said you should avoid as much as possible is trans fats, which are part of hydrogenated vegetable oils. But that's for another video. In this course, here's what she says about keto. The success of this diet comes from the fact that when most people limit the amount of carbohydrates, they end up decreasing their total calorie intake due to taste fatigue. The initial weight loss is primarily due to dehydration, which does not necessarily reduce your body fat. Low carbohydrate diets can also cause a significant reduction in lean mass, which reduces your basal metabolic rate. This diet remains credible to some because you can see some improvements in health. The Atkins diet needs more long-term research on overall health risks. Now, the Atkins diet and the keto diet are pretty much the same thing. From here, I stumbled upon some exercise and fitness scientists who had the same view on the ketogenic diet, which is that it's okay if you find you prefer to eat that way and that it's sustainable for you, but it's not magical. In fact, the long-term weight loss benefits are the same as on a balanced calorie-restricted diet. These scientists and evidence-based fitness proponents are Lane Norton, Sohee Lee, Brad Schoenfeld, Jeff Nippard, Dr. Spencer Nodalski, Michael Matthews, and Brett Contreras. Check them all out. They have fantastic content that's fascinating to watch, read, and listen to, and it's all backed up by science and experience. I'll leave all the links for their stuff down below. Now, let's explore a few keto myths. For example, instant weight loss. Now, many people who start the keto diet say the results are instantaneous, which is impressive. And it's true, but not because you're losing fat. As I said before, it's because you're losing water. That's because carbs in the form of glycogen bond with water in your body to the ratio of 1 gram of glycogen holds about 3 grams of water. So as your glycogen stores go down, so does your water weight. In the case of keto, it's a drastic drop. Plus, the metabolic process of producing ketones also results in water loss. So if you do want to get on the keto train, make sure you drink lots of water with it. But the long-term effects are no more than for a low-calorie diet. According to the DietFit's randomized clinical trial, where they took 609 people and split them into low-carb and low-fat groups and measured their progress over the course of 1 year. At the end of the year, the differences in the average weight loss between the two groups was minute. The second myth: keto makes your brain awesome. Now, if most keto fanatics are to be believed, yes. In fact, the ketogenic diet has been used since the 1920s to effectively treat children with epilepsy. In more recent studies, the diet seems to help people with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease and maybe even bipolar disorder. But these are small trials for short periods of time and shouldn't be taken as fact just yet. Now, keto fans claim that they have better focus, more clarity, and all around more awesome brains, but none of it has been studied in clinical settings yet. And taking someone's word for it is just not good enough. Why, you ask? Because people can be mistaken. People can imagine they're thinking more clearly when they really aren't. And this can be very convincing. It's not that they're trying to fool you or fool themselves. It's just that, well, actually, they are fooling themselves. It is just confirmation bias. If you believe it, you will probably think you are thinking more clearly. And there's no way to know if they're the ones tripping on something funky while others aren't, unless you put everyone in a randomized placebo-controlled trial, because we need to figure out if it's the placebo effect or not. So ultimately, we really don't know or are sure. We need to study this further, but until we do, we give this a maybe. But insulin, bro, Okay, this is number 3. A lot of people think that if you stop eating carbs, your insulin levels will drop, your metabolism will go into high gear, and you start burning fat like a rocket engine. But that's been debunked by many studies and is totally bogus. Also, another myth is that keto makes you a better athlete.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
No, it doesn't. Simple. Many different studies have tested this, and the results are either negative or inconclusive. Of course, lots more needs to be understood, and more studies are needed. But don't get into keto thinking that you'll turn into Usain Bolt or Sachin Tendulkar if he wasn't retired. Keto facts. Right. This is what keto is actually good for. Maybe. So the first is brain diseases. The ketogenic diet has proven quite useful for a variety of neurological disorders with different implications and effects. It's a vast topic, but suffice it to say, if you or a loved one have epilepsy, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's disease, or something similar, talk to your doctor about it before making any dietary changes. A lot of these things are preliminary and or in animal studies, so they really shouldn't be taken as gospel. However, it has shown a lot of promise in treating epilepsy in children. Again, always talk to your doctor before doing anything. Within reason, of course. Next, cancer. Ketogenic diets have been shown to reduce tumor sizes in some cases and slow the progress of the disease in others. And it has also shown no effect in yet other studies. The bottom line is we just don't know enough yet. Cancer is complicated, and it's not one disease, but it's a large group of disorders triggered by different things, presenting in different ways, and each with a different characteristic. So, no one treatment can be the solution. If you or someone you love has cancer, please see a doctor and follow their advice. Go to several doctors. Make sure you are on the right treatment regimen. But do not depend on diets or WhatsApp forwards for your medical information. I cannot stress this enough. Now, the next big one is diabetes. And it may sound obvious. The ketogenic diet may help in managing blood sugar, at least for the short term, but the long-term effects are still not clear. In fact, it may even increase the risk of type 2 diabetes. The bottom line is we don't know anything for sure yet. The main benefits of the keto diet seem to be the same as calorie-restricted diets if you lose weight on it. But is it sustainable for you? Is it something you imagine doing for the rest of your life? Then go ahead. Go for it. Go keto. But for many people like me, it isn't sustainable. I used to stay awake at night dreaming of a sandwich, of just having a sandwich. Bread! Okay, but coming back to this, consuming massive amounts of meat and fat have been connected to heart disease and other problems. So if it's not something you can do for the rest of your life, don't start. You'll get the same results out of a well-balanced diet that's slightly restricted in calories. Now, if you're wondering where I've ended up, I'm still learning about different tools I can use to lose weight. Right now, I'm doing a modified version of intermittent fasting. I'm not a fanatic about it, but it seems to suit my lifestyle and remains sustainable for me. So I'm trying to do that along with having a balanced diet. Now, I am losing weight slowly but steadily, and sometimes it bounces back, but that's how it works. And I'll continue tweaking as I go on. So that's what I learned the hard way. It wasn't carbs that made me fat. It was the calories. And that's the case for everyone who is overweight. The bottom line is you need to find something you can stick to that suits your lifestyle. In other words, the best diet for weight loss is the one you can stick to. So which diet do you follow? Are you reconsidering your position on keto? Do you think I'm wrong? Let me know in the comments. All right, thank you so much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and share it with some of your keto fanatic friends, or fellow nerds and food nerds and diet nerds, etc., etc. And if you really enjoy this kind of content and you think I make sense and you appreciate my views, then I'd really love it if you subscribe to this channel and ring that bell so that you get notified the next time the video comes around. And if you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/rationable. That's RATIONABLE. Thank you so much for watching once again. Have a great week ahead, and I'll catch you later in the next one. Until then, stay rationable.